Good morning. This is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated Journato morning headlines on April 28, 2022. Germany evicting Afghan refugees to accommodate people fleeing Ukraine. Trump testifies he hired bodyguard after seeing his bravery in a fight. Massacre in Tadaman, how two academics hunted down a Syrian war criminal. The Guardian, a hidden war crime, footage sheds light on horrors of war in Syria, video explainer. Microsoft discloses onslaught of Russian cyber attacks on Ukraine. Reuters.com, Russian hacking in Ukraine has been extensive and intertwined with military operations, Microsoft says. CNN, a chilling Russian cyber aim in Ukraine, digital dossiers. The Associated Press, En Español, Russia uses cyber attacks in Ukraine to support military strikes, report finds. Trump News, Live, report slams $700 million COVID loan as McCarthy faces right-wing wrath. The Independent, Republicans in Congress give McCarthy standing ovation for defense of leaked audio, as it happened. The Guardian, this is serious SHT, NYT audio reveals McCarthy's fear about rhetoric after January 6. CNN, Opinion, no, Kevin McCarthy's leadership is not in peril. Denmark suspends COVID vaccination program as officials say virus is under control. The Independent, Denmark becomes first country to suspend COVID vaccinations as virus is brought under control. The Telegraph, Denmark suspends COVID vaccination campaign as health chiefs say virus is under control. Chinese drone firm DJI pauses operations in Russia and Ukraine. BBC, Putin suffers major China blow as drones pulled from Russia after Ukraine plea. Express, Chinese drone maker DJI suspends sales in Russia and Ukraine after claim it is partner to murder. The Telegraph, Chinese drone maker DJI halts Russia and Ukraine operations. Financial Times, Chinese drone giant DJI calls off business in Russia as it reassesses requirements. Friends no longer, Ukraine removes Russian statues and street names. Trevor Reed, parents overjoyed at release of U.S. Marine in Russia. BBC, like you see in the movies, Trevor Reed's dad describes son's prisoner swap. CNN, ex-Marine Trevor Reed freed from jail in dramatic U.S.-Russia prisoner swap. The Guardian, ex-U.S. Marine released by Russia in surprise prison swap. The Telegraph, Trevor Reed and Konstantin Yaroshenko, who's who in high-stakes U.S.-Russia prisoner swap. Ukraine war, struggling in the face of unrelenting savagery, Severodonetsk residents hide underground from Russian shelling. Myanmar junta sentences Aung San Suu Kyi to 5 years for corruption. The Guardian, Aung San Suu Kyi sentenced to 5 more years in prison. The Times, Aung San Suu Kyi sentenced to 5 years in prison for corruption. The Telegraph, Myanmar's Aung San Suu Kyi found guilty on first corruption charge and sentenced to 5 years in prison. The Independent, April 27, 2022, Russian gas, Myanmar's Suu Kyi jailed, Capitol riot panel, Madeleine Albright, COVID. Russia doubles fossil fuel revenue since invasion of Ukraine began. Boeing CEO says it should have refused Trump's Air Force One deal that has cost it $660 million. The Independent, Donald Trump's Air Force One deal severely impacted. Boeing, says plane maker CEO. Express, Boeing losses mount in $1.2 billion hit from Ukraine and Air Force One. Financial Times, Boeing earnings, bad news for investors never stops. Bloomberg, Boeing CEO says it should have rejected Trump's proposal to upgrade 2 Air Force One planes. Ukraine war, allies must double down with heavy weapons and air power, says Foreign Secretary. Sky News, the West must double down on support for Ukraine, says Liz Truss. Guardian News, UK, allies must double down and send Ukraine tanks, jets. The Independent, Liz Truss is ready to try and beat global aggressors at their own game. iNews, further arming Ukraine will only destroy it. The West must act to end this war now. Ukraine war, Russia gas supply cuts blackmail, says EU. BBC, Russia halts gas exports to Poland and Bulgaria amid war in Ukraine, BBC News. BBC News, how worried should Europe be as Russia starts cutting off gas supplies? The Guardian, editorial. Russia is doing the West's work in cutting gas to Bulgaria and Poland. The Independent. What is the EU's stance on Russia's ruble's gas payment demand? Putin threatens Ukraine allies as Truss urges doubling down on support for Kyiv. The Guardian. Russian President Vladimir Putin claims the West's plans to strangle us economically have failed. Evening Standard. Vladimir Putin threatens nuclear strikes if West intervenes. The Telegraph. Ukraine war. Vladimir Putin warns interfering countries of lightning-fast reaction, as EU decries gas cuts as blackmail. Sky News. Putin warns of lightning-fast retaliation against West if it interferes in Ukraine. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.